I, 32F, have developed strong feelings for my friend's 31F husband, 34M, and the feelings are mutual. I feel like the worst person ever. About 3 years ago I met this incredible woman, let's call her Amy, as our children are the same age and go to the same kindergarten. We instantly hit it off and became very close. She's incredibly kind, smart, hilarious and an amazing friend, mother and wife. We spend a great deal of time together and see each other at least twice a week because we live close to each other. We often go for drinks or to restaurants, shopping, the movies, and arrange play dates for our kids. I really enjoy spending time with her and her family, and I feel so lucky to have met her. Amy is married to Jake, let's call him that, who is also pretty amazing. On top of that, he is incredibly handsome, which all of her friends are aware of. He is very tall, has a great body, confident, assertive and very eloquent and charismatic, just the perfect man. I felt an instant attraction when I met him and it has been intensifying ever since. I was able to keep it under control for a while, but the last 6 months things have escalated. My husband, 35M, and I went on a holiday with Amy and Jake and our kids, where I got to spend a lot of one-on-one time with Jake. Jake and I always had a nice dynamic and would have fun whenever we would get together, but I was primarily Amy's friend and he was her husband, so we were never really that close. However, during our holiday, Jake really opened up to me and told me some very intimate things about his childhood and about his doubts, fears and hopes for the future, and I found myself opening up a lot as well. I felt like we really connected on a deeper level during those 3 weeks, and there were some sparks too. At one point, we were getting ready to go to the pool, and we were alone in the hotel room, and he offered to put sunscreen on me, and I reluctantly agreed. He pushed my hair to the side, and his face was so close to the back of my neck that I could feel his breath, and we just stood like that for a few moments before he told me in a very soft voice that I smell so good. There were a few more moments where he would touch me or rub my arms or back or wrap his arm around me, none of which he normally did back home. Then, one night, neither of us could sleep after getting drunk with our spouses, while Amy and my husband passed out, so we walked down to the beach that was right in front of our hotel and stayed up all night talking and cuddling. I was lying on his chest and he was playing with my hair. When we went back to the hotel, there was a moment where it felt like something could happen, but we just said good night. Ever since then things have entered quite dangerous territory. He has been insisting on us hanging out together alone, he constantly compliments me and gives me the flirty eyes whenever all 4 of us hang out together, and he has been quite heavy with the sexual innuendos and jokes. He has such a devilish naughty smile, and I get all jittery whenever he smiles at me or one of my jokes. Then one time, the topic of size came up with Amy and some of our other female friends, and Amy bragged about Jake being hung like a horse. I got so turned on that I fantasized about him for days and days after that. The thing is, I love my husband and he is my favorite person ever and I would never do anything to hurt him. I'm still very much attracted to my husband as well and our sex life is pretty healthy. In fact, we have sex 4 to 5 times a week, some weeks even every day, so that's not the issue at all. Additionally, I would never want to hurt her either, but whenever I'm around Jake, my heart beats so fast and I get these butterflies in my stomach and I feel completely electric. I've never felt this kind of attraction towards a man in my life and I want him so bad. I don't know what to do and I needed a place to get this off my chest. I feel so terrible writing all of this, but I am just completely infatuated with this man. Distance yourself from them. The boundaries you'll be crossing is leading its way to an affair. It's already an emotional affair tbh. Seriously, draw the boundaries. You don't know how many more times this might have happened. If he's advancing on you without the knowledge of his wife, he's dangerous to be around. Talk to your friend, make sure she's okay with whatever happened in the past between you two. Share your suspicions and save your marriage. And sunscreen, really. She's already in affair territory. And unless she goes no contact with Jake and Amy, she'll soon start rewriting the history of her marriage to justify her feelings for Jake. She's had no issue crossing all sorts of boundaries. What's a few more? The more boundaries she crosses, the harder she will look for grievances in her marriage to justify her behavior. This will impact her marriage for real, and her grievances will suddenly be credible. This will further fuel the affair until she realizes her marriage wasn't what she thought it was and she's actually been unhappy for years. Jake merely opened her eyes to her unhappy marriage. Of course she stepped out. It was inevitable. And people will tell her that affairs don't happen in good marriages, further cementing her version of events. Dramatic? Not really. It happens often. Affairs do happen in good marriages. They happen because one person mistakes contentment for boredom and seeks validation and excitement outside of the relationship. And then she dumps her husband to be with Jake, breaks her kids' hearts, leaves her house. And Jake turns around and tells her he will work on his marriage instead and break contact with her. Then she'll be on her knees begging her husband to take her back. Happened to my mom. Yep. This is a common story. Stays with the wife or the affair partner, realizes they aren't the only one, and all that hot and heavy passion was just how this person operates. Sorry, did your mom and you as well? Collateral damage. Same with my mom. Exactly the same actually. Yes. Stop all this nonsense with your friend's husband. It isn't fair on your friend or your husband. I'm like, how did she think spending a lot of one-on-one time with him was a good thing to do? Just cause you got the hots for someone. Golden rule: treat others how you would want to be treated. Would you, want to be in Amy's shoes if THW roles were reversed? Would you want Amy to be cuddling and touchy with your husband? The minute you realized you had the hots for him, you should have distanced yourself. Your friend doesn't deserve this, and neither does your husband. You have rose-colored glasses on right now. This Jake guy isn't some amazing guy, he's cheating on his wife, just not physically yet, and you've already started cheating on your husband, you just haven't slept with Jake yet. All of the children in this scenario are going to wind up in broken families because of superficial feelings toward someone else's spouses. Be the adult you should be, cut ties and distance yourself from him. The fact that Op called Jake the perfect man the moment he offered to put sunscreen on them, Op should have realized Jake ain't all that. Yeah, he's not perfect. This, very likely, isn't his first rodeo. He's far too comfortable with all of it, sunscreen, really. For it to be his first foray into infidelity. Right. Well, literally on vodka with wife and her husband. That's bold. Yeah, that bit where Op mentions Amy's friends being aware of Jake being handsome and charismatic and all that jazz. You know who else is aware that his wife's friends see him as handsome and eloquent and charismatic? Jake. He tried his luck with AP and she fell for it. Sounded like she was already jealous for a man that's not hers. Anyone who will cheat with you will cheat on you. I think of that saying anytime I read things like this. You deserve to feel guilty. You betrayed your friend and husband just through these few interactions, and you admit it's escalating. How can you even wonder what you are supposed to do? You have your husband and family to think about. Distance yourself from your friend Amy and save everyone the heartache. If you choose otherwise, you deserve whatever garbage outcome you end up with. Everything that's already happened is bad enough by itself. On point, and all the cuddle with playing with her hair super inappropriate tbh, this is definitely emotional cheating, and she should stop it ASAP if she want to continue having a marriage. That bit made me cringe. I don't understand how anyone could even possibly entertain the idea of doing something about this. It's a crush, it happens. But to actually even consider betraying two families and throwing those relationships away because you want to be banged by Jake the Stallion fucking priorities. Op has none. She also has no respect for who is supposed to be her best friend, her loving husband who she would never hurt, and her own fucking kids. And her friends' kids. I think the best idea is to cut contact. But, as a stranger, even just knowing about this has tarnished how I view Op as a person, going forward. Probably not someone to be trusted either. Sorry, Op. Also, how is she so sure that this man did not cheat before on his wife? Lol, maybe he is a serial cheater, she is putting him in a pedestal like, ooh, he is so perfect, dude, he is not perfect if he can't be loyal. Like you said, one thing is to have a crush on someone and another thing is to entertain this. My replies are being hidden. I don't know why. I've edited the swear words out of them. Trying to get them pasted in new comments, it's worked for one. But this one, I'm struggling with. This was my reply to you, third time lucky. This is such a good point. He's hot and he knows it. He knows his wife's friends coo over him and he f***ing loves it. Obviously it's possible that he hasn't been unfaithful. But the second he realized that Op was attracted to him, he saw an opportunity and took it and is keen to take things further. He didn't even have to think about it. So I'd be very surprised if he wasn't a FCK boy in his youth and is still a FCK boy now. The pair of them are gross. Especially with the dynamics, best friends, perfect families, on holiday together, and they sneak off together to the beach at night. Do we believe it was just a cuddle? If it weren't for the sake of her friend, her husband and her kids, both sets of kids, I'd be telling Op to FCK off with him and learn the hard way, because they deserve each other. But since they haven't been physical much so far, it seems salvageable. Let's just hope if they do choose to end it here, no one will ever find out. Also, no respect for herself. She's acting like a child with a crush, not a grown-ass adult with a family, a partnership and commitments. She should be ashamed. Edit. A letter. What did she expect by posting this though? It's known fine well that Redditors flip their shit over this stuff. Did she expect us to all go, "Ah wow, I'm so glad you found the perfect man. FCK your best friend and your family. Go get that DCK. Either divorce your husband or end the friendship. You have crossed so many lines. You have a crush, be an adult and don't do this to your family. What the fuck are you doing? Wake up to yourself. You're about to destroy two families over a careless and selfish infatuation, and you are going to hurt people you love. Cut contact and give yourself a kick in the ass. You're knowingly throwing a hand grenade into your children's and their children's lives. This is so much bigger than you. This is so incredibly disgracefully selfish behavior. Cut contact and go to therapy. Salvage what you can before you further fuck two families up. You'll never have a trusting relationship with someone you cheat with. Whatever fantasy you've played out in your mind of how this will play out is extremely short-sighted. Sex will never be worth a lifetime of disappointment when your kids find out. They will never look at you the same. I know because my dad fucked up multiple families because he was a selfish adulterous man-child. I'm still struggling with the abandonment issues I suffer as a result from my father's affair over 20 years ago. If this is how you behave, you should never have married and you were never, IMO, responsible enough to have children because you can't put their needs before your own. I hope that sinks in. Get a divorce if you're miserable, if not, be a fucking adult and stop thinking with your crotch. As a married person and a former kid with a broken home, I'll never understand how a parent can look at their children in the eyes and knowingly fuck up their youth up because of sex. Preach. This really hit. My dad was a serial cheater and my mom just put up with it. I found out when I was 15 and I have never been the same. I'm 27 now and found out a year into my 4-year relationship that my boyfriend hooked up with a few women in the first 3 months we were dating. It was absolutely soul-crushing then, and I am still dealing with the trauma of that, despite that it was so early, and I theoretically don't think it's that big of a deal. I know it would hurt anyone, but my management of my emotions is so poor because I am so traumatized by my parents. You will destroy your children and they will resent you for life. There's a great book out there that helped me get over some of the trauma selfish covetous cretins like this casually causes in other people's lives. Check out Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents. Op needs to read it too. It gives really good insight as to how shitty selfish parents leave gaping wounds in their children's mental health and how to help heal them decades later. I find it especially bad when it's so drawn out and premeditated like this. Like it's bad enough when people get drunk and do something stupid to fuck up their life on a drunken whim. But to continually choose to put yourself in these situations and encourage this behavior from this man, with no regard to the children involved, is so selfish it's bordering on evil. I hope Op wakes up and seeks therapy and separates herself from this other couple before things blow up for everyone. You don't know what to do? You said you love your husband, so don't bother entertaining ideas about you and your friend's husband. Stop being in contact with him and distance yourself. You'd feel like shit if the roles were switched and your friend and your husband had strong feelings for each other. Don't fuck shit up. Yes, also Op needs to consider the fact that this guy clearly is comfortable enough to do all this, sexual jokes, asking for one time, etc., meaning he might have done this before or is at least comfortable with the idea of it. At Op when he asked to put sunscreen on you, he knew what he was doing. This wasn't a magical moment. He's comfortable cheating. When you leave your husband for him, he's eventually going to do it to you too, and you're going to be alone realizing you ruined your life for a man that never cared. Distance yourself from them both or tell Amy that from now on you only want to do girls' nights. Based on your description of him, he knows what he's doing, he's flattered you, he's put his spell on you for now, he'll upend your life and probably won't be fazed by it in his. It's important to know that to men like that you aren't special, he just makes you think you are so he can get what he wants from you. I'm sure he's done it before and will do it again. You could be anyone he's set his eyes on for the moment. If you have something solid in your life, I would strongly caution against this route. Also, there's nothing more empowering than looking a man in the eye, calling him out on his BS, and setting a hard boundary. When he tests the waters you gotta look him dead in the eye, let him know the water's ice cold, and don't soften it with a smile or a laugh or by looking away. He was testing the waters with a sunblock. But if he said like, "Can I put lotion on you?" and you look right at him and say, "I don't think that's appropriate, do you?" and then just stare at him silently. His own guilty conscience will make him back down, and he'll know not to try with you. Ditto. She had me at all her friends know her husband is gorgeous. No darling, the husband knows he is gorgeous and makes sure others are aware. The worst type of man. I seriously doubt you're the first or the last one of her friends that her husband will seduce. I bet he has a long list already. He only shared those heartfelt feelings with you to make you feel you are closer to him so he can have sex with you. 100%. I thought this too, he seems very calculated and obviously notices the attention he's getting from his wife's friends. It definitely seems like an ego boost and something he has done before. Especially when the friends talk about him being attractive so openly and graphically in front of his wife. I feel so bad for Amy, she needs new friends and a new and improved husband. I hope Amy finds out and ditches both of them pronto and finds someone who loves her. Not these two pos. I hope both of their spouses find out and leave them. I feel so bad for all the kids in this situation. You're feeling this way because it's new, something that hasn't been explored yet and tainted, and you're full of lust. People confuse lust with genuine love and feelings. Is sex really worth the risk of losing your close friend and your husband? Shut it down now and take time away from him. You should have never been encouraging it in the first place. Your first mistake was cuddling with a married man who happens to be your close friend's husband. Edit to add. You may feel special right now to him, but this sounds like this isn't his first time cheating on his wife, because he seems to have it down on how to attract and manipulate women. I wonder how many women in her friend circle are keeping a secret. Looks like Jake is an expert on this, and you're probably not the first woman he did this to. You're not as special as you think you are. This is what I came to say. Based on what he did and the way she's describing him, this is not the first time, and neither will it be the last time. I know a beautiful woman who was the Amy in this case, but her best friend ended up with her husband. The karma that those two cheaters got was sweet. They ended up hating each other. It was incredibly toxic. The Jake would call the Amy for years afterwards when he got drunk to say it was the worst regret of his life. The Jake and you had a nasty toxic divorce. The Jake is now dead. The Jake and you brought another child into the families, and she is an absolute mess of a girl. Really, really bad, steals, takes drugs, is violent, etc. The poor children have all sorts of issues, but because the Amy is a fantastic mother, they turned out okay in the end. Amy is now married and living a peaceful life. You need to cut this off. If your husband had been cuddling Amy, you would be telling us all he cheated on you. Lose Amy if you need to instead of killing your two families. I'll be completely honest. If you don't want to lose everything, you need to not be around him, cause from reading this, it is just a matter of time before you cheat on your husband. I don't feel you can contain it. He seems more willing to do so as well. So if you want to throw everything away cause he gets you hot, go for it. Otherwise tell him to cut the shit or somehow do not see him, period. Edit. Forgot to mental. I've been in the exact same scenario as you. I'm a guy and this girl understood me almost more than I did myself. I felt we were kindred spirits, twin flames. It nearly destroyed my relationship of 14 years. I couldn't help but beam when she was around, and when I thought about it, I would have done anything for her. She felt same as me, but had loads of things going on. I had to stop seeing her. I know I would not have been as happy with her in long run. I was infatuated and she was just amazing. I know I made the right choice. Edit. I get it, guys. I should have been more clear. I do consider what has already transpired as cheating. With respect to emotional cheating, I can't say, only because that kind of shit varies between individuals and couples. But yes, I agree with those that brought this to my attention. Agreed. I think Op needs to step away from her relationship with both Amy and Jake and go to therapy. She's risking everything right now. I think she's more interested in the thrill than the reality. I agree therapy would be good if she chooses to write the course. This kind of implies she tells her husband. I would hope she does. They're already cheating on their husband. They're flirting, cuddling, emotionally connecting on a personal level, and having feelings for each other and acting on them. Even if they're not having sex, emotional cheating is still cheating. Understood. I would consider the cheated as well. Apologies. Either way, she should stop immediately if she before everything is wrecked. I believe this is something she repair, but she has to make the right decisions and cut out immediately. One thing I learned is that it's really hard to make the right decisions once you're already making all the wrong ones. That being said, it's still on her to make the right choice and be honest. I hope that she realizes how much she's fucking things up and at least tells her husband and Amy about what's happening. Yeah, I don't think she will be able to repair anything if she doesn't speak with both of them. There is really no half-assing this. It has to be complete honesty. And dude needs to find out. I feel he does this as much as he can get away with it. I would argue that she already has cheated on her husband, emotionally. They've already done things that would upset the average monogamous relationship rules. At this point, if you're monogamous, you should just leave your husband because he doesn't deserve this. Maybe you're meant to be single or poly or something. If meeting a hot guy is all it takes for you to lose your self-control, you'll end up hurting anyone you're with if you continue like this. There's tons of hot guys in the world, so why not just be single and not hurt anyone? No, I agree. I'm gonna have to edit my comment. I would consider laying on his chest cheating 100%. With respect to emotional cheating, I know that varies by the individual and couple. But I agree with you. I disagree that she should leave her husband. She has a chance to salvage this relationship and there are kids involved. Don't act stupid. You know what to do. Distance yourself from them. Limit your contact to a "hope you're both doing well" text every few months and only to your female friend. Never contact her husband again. Crushing and finding someone attractive is normal and inevitable, even in long-term relationships. But it's what you do about that attraction where the line can be crossed, and you definitely crossed that line.